Hey guys, before we dive into this board review, I want to respond to our community. A lot of you are asking what's Vaer. You see the stickers on the boards. Vaer's a watch company. These guys are surfers, huge fans of the show. And this is a little bit more to me than just a sponsorship. After working with them for a while, I've come to find out that these guys are 100% passionate about craftsmanship, quality, and customization. And that really aligns with what I look for, not only in my boards, but in everything I use day to day. Vaer has become my go-to daily watch, whether I'm in the water or just living my daily life. They are good looking and they can handle everything I throw at them. So yeah, big thanks to Vaer for their support of the show. And if you're in the market for a solid, well-made surf watch, definitely check them out. Hey guys, welcome to Surf and Show. I'm Noel Salas. Special guest, Asa Cascavilla. It's not special anymore, dude.
It's still special.
You're
it's
always
special.
Here. That's right. You're just part of the show now, dog.
I love being here. Thank you.
We're stoked to have you. Today is a special FRK day. This is a Swallowtail, Slater Designs, Eyebolic construction. This is gonna be fun. Sit back, get your favorite drink, enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Now, the ideal place for me to start is the original FRK that I reviewed a few years ago. I remember it being 5'9" and a round tail. We had excellent waves for that review. I was surfing SoCal, some of the point breaks. We had some well overhead surf, and then we had some more shoulder head high waves. And what I liked about the FRK is usually a round tail wants to do rounder turns. But that particular board, I could do a looping bottom turn, front side come up and get straight up in the hook. Now, I also remember riding it on smaller days, which I would never do on the regular with like your typical high performance shortboard. They have a lot of rocker for the most part, and they're somewhat narrow. So there's not a lot of planing speed, and if it has too much rocker, especially in the point breaks that I'm surfing in Southern California, they just don't carry enough speed. But that particular FRK with a round tail had the speed, it had the maneuverability, and I felt like for the most part it had pretty good flow. Now, I remember a couple waves that come to my mind, front side and back side, where there was a lot of release and it kept the board real playful and exciting to ride. Now, fast forward to here at the pool. This is my home break. I've got the 5'6" Swallowtail and the 5'7". And when I was talking to the folks at Firewire, I'm thinking, I don't usually ride a high performance shortboard here at the pool. So getting these boards, I was thinking, is it gonna have too much rocker? Is it gonna carry enough speed? With it having 5 boxes, been messing around with the quad, and the quad feels good. It feels like it's carrying that speed. I got a lot of drive being able to push off the side fins, and it's got a little bit of that release that I like. And then on the 5'7", I've been running the Pivot Twin Plus trailer, and what I really like about that is I've got an inch longer rail line, which I don't ever ride 5'7s here. But having the length and going to Twin Plus trailer, it's giving me that loose feel with that quick rail to rail sensation, and then able to keep the tail nice and free. Now, as I step down from the 5'7 to the 5'6, removing 1 inch in rail line and going a little bit narrower, the board's looser, it's more responsive. So I went right into riding the 5'6 with Kelly's quad set. So I had the medium front fins and his really pivotal quad rears. And with both being medium, the board felt loose, it felt fast, it felt responsive, and it never felt tight, which is kind of the opposite of what I thought was gonna happen with my pivot thruster and the 5'7 feeling tight, because there's so much fin back in the back of the board. So Kelly's fins felt great. Now, when I switch to my fins, which is right here, this is more of a neutral side template. It has the large base, medium fin depth, so it's the best of both pivot and carve. What really separates my fins from Kelly's is the quad rears are really upright, and this has a flat foil. So the inside of the fin is flat, and Kelly's fin's more of an 80-20. And just to describe what the 80-20 feels like to me, it feels like it's a little bit looser right when I stand up, like the board's more responsive. Almost like a skateboard with a little bit looser trucks compared to a flat foil quad rear. And so it feels like it has a little bit more flow and the ease of going in rail to rail, which I like that feeling. On the flat foil quad rears, I feel like the turns are a little bit more razor sharp. They're drawing a sharper line, and it's not so around. It offers a little bit more drive and a little bit more hold, but both quad fin set felt great in the 5.6. The other thing I wanted to mention was the rail. I would say it's a lower performance rail, like the apex is a tad lower. So it knifes into the water real good. And if I'm riding an EPS epoxy board in 4 to 6 foot surf, I'm gonna need this type of rail shape to get the rail to penetrate the surface and give me the hold and traction. Now it does have a medium entry and a medium exit rocker, so it's giving me the traction that I need with the rail style to give me the traction and hold off the bottom, especially when I'm moving at high speeds. Now, I also wanted to mention the bottom contours. It's running a single, pretty aggressive single into a double concave, probably from like here back. And that double concave is pronounced enough where it's got that flow from rail to rail, and it makes it easy to set the rail and hold. So, loving the overall feel of how the board is under my feet, and then the outline is just so clean.
Hey guys, what's going on? Eddie Lester here. Super excited to be doing this review of the FRK Swallow with Noel. So I was able to ride this board in about waist to chest and then up to head-high waves, and really found that it was quite great on rail. I feel like one of the specialties of this board is that it really liked to do long carves. I've been riding some boards with a lot of tail rocker lately, and that really helped, some more like snaps and like really quick, those sort of sharper turns. What I really felt with this board is that because of the, we'll say, lessened tail rocker, I'd call it medium exit rocker in the tail here, if you can kind of see that. It didn't have quite as much, we'll say, whippiness, but what that did was give me a lot of drive through some flatter sections and really allowed me to carve, we'll say, all the way back on roundhouses in a way that felt really smooth and really allowed me to keep a lot of speed all the way through. So I've been riding this board primarily as a 2+1 setup. I did like the enhanced ability, or enhanced pivot for sure, of the 2+1 setup. As a thruster, or we'll say just as a regular fin setup, I did notice that it was, we'll say, stiffer, but then and didn't have quite as much pivot, so I loosened it up with the 2+1 and added a little extra pivot, which I love to use pivot, especially out at trestles, the way that I surf the most, as I really like to be tight in the pocket. But what I really liked about this board route was really the speed that it held in some of the flatter sections. As opposed to a really snappy, like we'll say, a bowly wave board, I felt this board probably like it was meant to as kind of a modified version of the FRK. The regular shortboard, are making it the FRK a little bit more waist to chest, head high friendly. I feel they did a great job of doing that.
But let's just start with yours is 5.6 coming in, I think, at 25.7 liters.
25.7, yep.
And mine's a 5.7 coming in at 26.3.
1 inch longer.
So an inch longer. I haven't ridden a 5.7 at the pool here in a long time.
Yeah.
Most of the time it feels a little bit too long for me. Now, you're an inch taller, 5'10", 165 pounds. I'm 5'9", 172. It's funny, it's like we should be doing a board swap and you should have started 5'7". But let's just talk a little bit about how the board felt under your feet. And I want you to remember that you're coming from the Machado Cotto and the Seaside episode we just finished. So those boards, those shorter boards are 5'2". And you've been riding shorter boards for roughly a month.
Yeah, it's been a while. So yeah, it was a huge adjustment to get on this thing. I felt like I couldn't get my feet right at first, but once I got my foot right, I had a couple waves that had a right and a left that were really, really good. The board came around, I did a reverse, it came around super smooth, right into the lip on the next one, right into the lip on the next one. It felt amazing.
Right, now, 5.6, this has considerably more rocker, and when you talk about your stance or your footing, both the 5.2s, your stance is closer, especially when you're riding them for a month.
Right.
You don't realize it, but then we get a change of board, or if you're surfing Southern California, wherever you're from, and you jump from a groveler to a high-performance shortboard, that's when it starts to mess with the stance. And that's what you're talking about.
Good point, good point. Yeah, this morning I literally rode a 5.3, and then this afternoon I rode this board.
Let's talk about how the board felt coming off the bottom, because you got the rocker and traction, right?
It took me a little bit to kind of get it to flow up and get my bottom turn where it was smooth and going to the lip, but when I got it right, when my feet were right and I got that rail engaged right, this thing just shot up.
Nice.
And it had, with that extra length, it wanted to go through the lip nicely.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode on the FRK Swallowtail by Slater Designs. It's a very versatile board. It's definitely a high-performance shortboard, but it's carrying daily driver type speed. I recommend this for solid intermediate all the way to pro level surfers in that 2-foot kind of punchy wave all the way to 6-foot surf. I think you guys will be stoked. Now, if you're on the lower level intermediate and you're looking for a good performance board, I highly recommend the Dominator 2, the Mashup, getting on even the Machado Cado as you progress, and then jump into something like the FRK Swallow. Now, if you like the show, subscribe, ring the bell so you don't miss an episode, and give us a thumbs up if you like our content. And a special shout out thanks to Slater Designs for sending the boards in for review. Until next time, we'll see you in the water. Bye-bye.